Hello, my name is Stephanie Connor. I serve on the Tennesseans for the Arts Board, and I'm from Nashville.
I'm Bob Willie.
Hello, my name is Regina Ward, and I represent Murfreesboro, Tennessee in the Middle Tennessee area.
My name is Becky Ham, and I represent Hamlin County and the Lakeway region of East Tennessee.
I'm Marcus Cox, representing Memphis, Tennessee.
My name is Christy Dunn, and I represent Johnson County and the far northeast corner of Tennessee.
I'm Dr. Delita Johnson, and I represent Jackson.
I'm Zach Stevens in Livingston, Tennessee, representing the Upper Cumberland region.
My name is Rachel Ford, and I'm the CEO of the Knoxville Symphony Orchestra. I represent East Tennessee and Knoxville on the Tennesseans for the Arts Board of Directors.
Susan Robinson here from Chattanooga. I represent, as Vice President of Tennesseans for the Arts, the Southeast District.
Hi, I'm Whitney Joe, Vice President of Tennesseans for the Arts representing West Tennessee, and the Managing Director of Playhouse on the Square right here in Memphis, Tennessee.
Good morning. Welcome everybody to Arts Advocacy Day 2026. I am Bryce McDonald. I am the President of Tennesseans for the Arts. As you all know, we're the largest state advocacy group all about supporting the sale of the license plate program to help keep funding happening for all of the arts programs across this beautiful state of Tennessee. This morning, you are going to be in for such a treat. We are going to show you how much local matters, our theme for this year. We're going to be in Chattanooga. We're also going to be in Selmer, and to look at these different types of communities that Tennessee is full of, because art grows anywhere, as we've talked before, and in every county, we have arts blooming constantly, which is thanks to your work and your support. We hope you all have the best day.
Good morning. We're honored today to be joined by Senator Becky Massey, who serves as chair of Tennessee's Legislative Arts Caucus. Senator Massey has been a consistent advocate for strong, vibrant communities across our state, and she understands how the arts contribute to Tennessee's economic growth, education, and overall quality of life. Senator Massey, thank you for joining us for Arts Advocacy Day.
It's always great to be with you.
So, as chair of the Arts Caucus, why is it important for members of the General Assembly to understand how local arts investment impacts communities across Tennessee?
Well, I think it's important because the arts are in every fabric of our community, and they make a difference from the rural communities to the biggest cities. And they bring people together. They help with the vibrancy of their community, and and not everybody has the same experiences, so I think it's great for the legislators to hear the stories, the personal stories.
Absolutely, and we see that so much here in our community. Now, you represent Knoxville and East Tennessee. How have you seen arts funding create ripple effects in your district?
Well, I mean, you see the school performances. My daughter grew up dancing with the Tennessee Children's Dance Ensemble, and the arts grants that allowed those students to come see those dance performances. And so that's decades ago that I was watching the work of the arts grants.
Absolutely. So when everyday Tennesseans reach out to you about arts issues, how does that influence conversation during legislative sessions?
Well, our state legislators are citizen legislators, so actually they're home more than they're in Nashville, other than January through April. And so whether it's in Nashville, whether it's in their home communities, I think it's important for legislators to hear from the people that it's affecting, that it's making a difference in their lives. They need to be able to come to the art shows. They need to be able to come to the performances, whether it's symphony or opera, or it's the local bluegrass that is performing. So I think it's all important, the storytelling up in Upper East Tennessee. So it all works together to let people see firsthand what difference it's making to the vibrancy of our communities.
Absolutely. That's wonderful advice and very encouraging for a lot of people listening, I know. So for all the advocates who are here listening today, what is the most important way they can support you and your colleagues to ensure they communicate effectively what's happening in their districts?
One, get to know your legislators. Because people talk to me whether I'm at the grocery store, at church, or at ball games, or by phone and email. So it's, you get to know your folks. I meet with a lot of people at my Panera office. So that's important. And I don't know if we're going to get to it, but obviously the arts plates. I mean, those make a difference. There's 51 new plates coming online this year.
Amazing.
And so we just passed it through my committee this past week.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for all your work
Sure.
getting them through as well. And we'll be excited to see what the designs are.
Yeah.
And yes, we'll be speaking more about the license plates today. Well, Senator Massey, thank you so much for your leadership and for helping us understand how arts advocacy and legislative stewardship work together to really strengthen the communities across Tennessee. We are just so grateful for your time, for your perspective.
Well, I just want to thank everybody that's out there really making a difference in our communities. I mean, it all matters. It all helps with, like say, educating our kids and then just educating our adults on what the arts are. It just makes a true difference, and I just want to thank each and every one that is a part of the arts community.
Now, let's turn our attention to the funding that fuels so much of this work. Please join me in welcoming Ann Pope, Executive Director of the Tennessee Arts Commission.
Hi, my name is Ann Pope, and I'm Executive Director of the Tennessee Arts Commission. I'm so excited to be here this morning for Arts Advocacy Day, where we're talking about local matters. And I just want to say the theme Local Matters is literally at the Arts Commission, it's what we think about every day, is community by community, grant by grant. It is what is happening in each community that is making a difference through the arts. At the Arts Commission, we get to see it sort of from a bird's eye view. Last year, fiscal year 25, we made over 1,100 grants, almost 1,200 grants, $12 million in every county of the state to over 850 different schools, local governments, and nonprofits in all 95 counties. These grants directly impacted 4 million youth and children all across the state. We know the arts had a direct economic impact of $1.4 billion in every county of the state, where millions of audiences were attracted to arts and cultural events, creating jobs to the tune of over 24,000 jobs for $1.4 billion activity. And those are just the economic impact. Two programs that I'd like to highlight where you in every community are using the arts is to benefit seniors. Our program is called Creative Aging. It is happening all over our state, and this is the 4th year in a row that the Arts Commission has gotten national funding to help train artists that can work with seniors, and that is happening in all 3 grand divisions of our state. Also, a program that I'm very excited about, and it was a new grant that has been done this year, is with rural hospitals. The Tennessee Arts Commission got funding from the National Endowment of the Arts to use the arts to benefit rural hospitals, we know the arts can be used to help hospitals have a calming environment, benefit patients and their families, as well as staff in hospital and healthcare settings. This grant is funding 10 rural hospitals in each of the 3 grand divisions of the state, using the arts to benefit those hospitals. We have received our 4th grant from the E.A. Michelson Foundation for Creative Aging Tennessee. A second initiative that builds on this work is a grant that we offered this year for arts in rural hospitals, funded in part by the National Endowment for the Arts. It is also in partnership with the Tennessee Hospital Association, as well as state funding. This program has granted out grants to 10 rural hospitals in each Grand Division that are using the arts to help with health environments, provide arts activities for patients, for their families, as well as staff in rural hospitals across our state. So the Tennessee Arts Commission last year made grants of $12 million. This is the 12th year in a row that we have made investments in all 95 counties of the state. This stability, this growth in arts funding and arts activity in the state does not happen by accident. We know the arts are happening locally. They're revitalizing main streets and downtowns. They are helping make Tennessee places distinct. They are impacting the health and wellness of Tennesseans all across the state. The arts matter, and it's all happening locally. Today you're going to see two examples of how local matters, of how the arts are impacting communities in a positive way. In McNairy County, you're going to see how cultural heritage and local redevelopment through the arts is positively impacting that county. In Chattanooga, you're going to see how a creative sector is driving investment. Small town, big city, both where the arts are impacting communities across Tennessee in a positive way. Thank you very much again for being here.
This space right here has a lot of legacy to it for what Arts in McNairy does as far as being a part of the art world. The theater here is something I know a lot about as being a part of performing arts. And I've been a part of this organization since 2008. Also as an educator, I'm going to tell you why it's important to me, because I teach in a rural school, public school, been in the same school for 25 years in a neighboring county. And I teach a lot of children that are economically disadvantaged. They really are. And in the 25 years I've taught, I'll just tell you, probably a third of those children are being raised by grandparents or even great-grandparents. And you know, sometimes when you're already in an area that's economically disadvantaged, and then you're being raised by people who are not your actual parents, sometimes it makes it even harder for you to experience things in the culture and other experience that children in more urban areas can experience. But right here, I'll tell you, for several years ago, we had a children's show that we were offering to schools, and I brought my school over as a field trip. And the book that we had read that week was called Miss Nelson is Missing. And that happened to be the play that was going on stage. So we had spent a week preparing for this story. And let me tell you, you know, you think first graders going to come into a theater and they're going to sit and they're going to watch. These children were so animated. They were gripping the back of the seats as they watched these young children just like them on stage as these characters. And as the young people on stage in their character were speaking their lines, these little students were responding back from the story. They had no idea, really, I think, that literature could come to life that way. And I think it's so important because in a time where we know that it's a struggle sometimes for children to be able to read and to comprehend and get that fluency in, coming and seeing that books can come alive on stage just changes the whole idea. And what I've always tried to say is education is freedom, and I think Arts in McNairy gives great opportunity for students to see that theater is important, that literature is important, and that education can be freedom for them.
That's great. So my family has been in McNairy County for, I guess I'm the fourth generation. and they have all been musicians, and which did carry through me as well. And so my family basically, they were all in education, most of them, so band directors and things like that. I grew up in McNairy County, but I grew up in Adamsville, which is about 15 minutes away. So still in this area and county for sure, but as far as particularly being in Selmer, I've been in Selmer the last 5, maybe 10 years, 5 to 8 years. And basically, through all that, I'm a financial advisor, so I work in insurance and investments and have clients all over the place. But through that, I just saw a need for business development, and so I was approached about a year ago to serve on a board for, it's the McNairy Economic Development Foundation, to seek out and provide input and use resources that I have all across the state to build a plan for economic development in downtown Selmer. Growing up, I live in a very small town. Adamsville is very small and not much there, one red light. So, you know, one fast food, well, maybe 2 fast food. Eventually we got the second one. So, yeah, exactly. Thank you, Jax. But I always wonder growing up, you know, why don't we do these things? Why don't we have this? Or why does this city have these opportunities and we don't, you know? So we're actually, through the foundation, we are in conjunction with Arts in McNairy, working through a grant for a redevelopment of the Rockabilly Park that we have, which is a big draw to the city and our county, frankly. And so, you know, there's opportunities for everybody. And that's another thing that I believe that the LADA and AIM really does well, you know, provides opportunity for extremely low cost ways to be involved and get involved.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
Now you remember me. I done made you forget.
I'm always here.
I know.
My name's Amy.
Amy.
Yeah, I'm president of the board, and I'm visual arts chair of the board. Yeah, whether that's to come see a play or an art show or the murals serve as you know, cultural reference of our history, but also as photo ops. So people are going to come stop by and just take a picture and tag us in that too. We talk about placemaking a lot here. So if you put something on the map that somebody wants to go visit, they'll go visit.
I'm Tim Goldsmith. I'm the gallery director here at the Association for Visual Arts.
I'm Mason Elmore. I'm the operations coordinator and Association for Visual Arts. We also call it AVA.
Yeah. AVA has been around since 1987. It was created in the 80s along with a lot of initiatives to develop and elevate cultural institutions in the city. And our focus has been visual art specifically.
We also have the North Shore Merchants Collective, which is all of these establishments up and down Fraser. And it's a sweet little community, and we all keep in touch when we do markets out here on Fraser too. They actually redeveloped this street recently, so it's a lot more accessible, a lot safer, and we're able to kind of activate this space better with markets and various events.
There's always something happening here, whether it's in the park. Our theater center for the city is like across the parking lot behind us. There's all kinds of really great restaurants, and there's even a couple other galleries and businesses. So it's a very active place. It has a very particular flavor as a neighborhood and a community. It is a historic community. Actually, the building we're in now used to be a hardware store. The counter used to be right over there. Yeah.
We have the oldest elevator in Chattanooga in this building. It's condemned, it
Doesn't
not work, but it's here and it's old.
Kind of revitalization and stuff is something that a lot of our artists are working on. This current exhibit is an example of that. Right now we have a show called Ghosts on the Walls, and it is a group show of different visual artists in our community, each working in a slightly different media, but each of them exploring our architecture. So each of the works also has accompanying information about the buildings, their history, what they've been, what they're becoming, their status, if they're protected as historic protection, if they even exist anymore. Some of them that are depicted in the artwork don't exist anymore. What's really wonderful about a space like Ava is that we can host things like this that can be points of connection for the community to like have conversations around these things, to even explore them in a different way. Visual arts and talking about historic preservation, you may not think of those two as like connected, but this is like this is the substance of the show. And then we have different spaces that have different focuses. So to your question earlier, we're in our main gallery. We have a gallery behind us called our Landis Education Gallery. It's named after one of our founders, Charlotte Landis. That space is dedicated to featuring the work of students in our community and educators who are like developing curriculum and projects, and also our partner arts organizations. We have an exhibit of UTC's UTC students in the architecture department, thesis works there. We have a stage that is facing our storefront and our street. That's a space that pedestrians are walking by, and so we host rotations of immersive installation work there at different points in the year. We also have a satellite exhibit space at one of the local hospitals as a partnership with the Arts Therapies and Wellbeing program there. So there's a lot of different conversations happening even in our small space.
Hey, I'm Kim Jackson, and I am the new executive director at the Chattanooga Theater Center. The arts and engaging in them, when we talk about young people, it gives them the opportunity to grow work ethic, responsibility. It gives them the opportunity to problem solve with people that maybe aren't like them, that maybe had a different kind of day at their school or in their family life or in their community life. But when they show up here and they collaborate together on a project, whether they're working behind the scenes or on stage together, it gives them a safe, creative space to navigate challenge, right? To have lots of opportunities around Chattanooga for young people to engage in the arts and literally come to a creative process ready to learn with other people, ready to problem solve with other people, means that those young people have a much better chance of growing into the kind of citizens that our communities need.
So what we're saying is what the arts do is they bring multitudes of people into a single space to experience something that is emotional, that is paradigm shifting, that is thought provoking, to do so in a community effort. You put down screens, you experience something, and those kinds of visceral experiences make us more connected to we as humans and the way we are designed to work together and be together. My name is Brian McSween. I have the pleasure of being the CEO and Artistic Director for Chattanooga Ballet, and we are currently on tour at the Cookeville Performing Arts Center, performing a mixed repertory show and offering master classes to local students. So for our organization, you can basically think of our organization has 3 streams of revenue. We have our Nutcracker, which we do every year. We have our school, and then we have contributed giving. Well, contributed giving, right, that means grants, that means funding from federal, state, and local agencies, businesses, and then individual giving. So that contributed giving really is the area where we see strides that can be made that allow us to serve our community better. It is a richly blessing profession in how we get to serve and what we get to do. And so those contributions, especially on a state level and on a local level, where they really see the impact of what we're doing when we go into these communities and are able to interact and cast a dream, right? Why shouldn't the next Twyla Tharp or Martha Graham come from Cookeville, Tennessee? Why shouldn't the next George Balanchine or William Forsythe come from Chattanooga, Tennessee? Well, they won't unless we allow them the opportunity to dream at that level. And that's what we do, is we go in and we allow them the opportunity, the freedom to dream about doing that.
Hi everyone, I'm Kelly Barsdate from NASA, the national group for all of the state arts councils across the country. I also work a lot with arts leaders just like you, folks who do wonderful work in the arts and who want to do their bit for advocacy too. It's an honor to be here and to help situate your work in a national context. The theme for your event is Local Matters, and I love that theme because my own interest in the arts didn't start national. It started local. So I grew up in a small town in rural Alaska. We pretty much had 2 seasons, winter and getting ready for winter. The moose outnumbered the people back then. The cold sometimes got past 50 below. And no, this photo wasn't taken in Nashville in January. It was in Fairbanks, Alaska when I was a kid. There were no big foundations or wealthy donors in my hometown, but I still got a world-class arts education because our state arts council gave funds to volunteer arts groups and schools that supported many programs that I could take advantage of. I could have gotten into all sorts of trouble as a kid, but I didn't, at least not too bad, because music and dance programs kept me on track. They built my character, they connected me to something larger than myself. They also brought our community together and celebrated our unique and quirky culture and instilled a real pride in place. You all are doing similar things and usually more hospitable temperatures in all of your communities, from Memphis to Mountain City. You're running arts programs that help kids and families, that give a spark to local economies and enrich every facet of life. And state funds from the Arts Commission help you to do it. Let me put that funding into a national context. NASA just happened to finish a new budget survey, so I can show you the latest numbers. This past year, the Tennessee Arts Commission secured a modest increase in state funding. Actually, your funding's been on a steady growth trend, with increases each year for a decade plus. That's not the case in other states, though, where arts funding has been a lot more volatile. In the last 5 years, Tennessee funding has grown by about $6 million. Other states have collectively lost around $187 million. Tennessee funding also looks pretty good compared to nearby states. This map shows state funds on the arts in a per capita basis, right? Dollars indexed to population. On that per capita basis, you're ahead of pretty much all of your near neighbors except for Mississippi and Ohio. As you know, dedicated funding from license plates has been where most of your funding growth has come from in Tennessee. There are license plate funds in about 12 other states, but yours yields more per year than anyone else. In fact, Tennessee's plate program generates 6 times more funding than all the other states combined. So every time you promote the arts plates, you are helping yourself and the rest of the arts field to keep this goodness growing. Please, please don't take that success for granted. Public money for the arts is never a guarantee. There have been attempts to eliminate state arts councils in a couple of other states recently, and having a dedicated mechanism like license plates or a special tax does not make anyone immune. Right now, there are 3 other states whose funding mechanisms are being challenged, with attempts to sweep or redirect the dollars. The takeaway here is that you don't want any of that going on in Tennessee. You've got a good thing, and you want that goodness to keep rolling. You know, I'll tell you, after 35 years in arts advocacy, I've seen a lot of different approaches. Some have been very productive, and some have been just the opposite. But what I see happening in Tennessee puts you in a position of strength. You know, the first best practice I see is a focused message. Each year I ask Tennesseans for the Arts, what's your legislative priority? You know, what's the message? And it's always the same. License plates. Every year, that's the message. From where I sit, that's not boring. That's not timid. It's effective, it's focused, and it yields results. The data I just showed you about Tennessee funds increasing year over year is the proof. Another best practice I see in your state is a good arts caucus. There are a dozen or so other states with art caucuses, but they tend to come and go or to have members from just one party. Tennessee's is one of the oldest, it's one of the most influential, and it's bipartisan. State money going out to every county is another best practice. You know, broad distribution of dollars is one of the reasons that state arts agencies were created in the first place. And your Arts Commission gets grants into all 95 counties. Not every other state meets that benchmark. So what you've got going in Tennessee is worth protecting. And you can help that happen by being arts advocates and ambassadors in your own communities. Now, that doesn't mean you all have to run out and all become lobbyists. That's why you have the talented Molly Pratt working for you. But what I'm talking about is simple stuff, things that everybody can do. So, for instance, send your elected officials thank you notes for supporting arts funding. Now, that sounds kind of quaint, but in this environment where elected officials get shouted at for all kinds of things, being thanked for something positive can set the arts apart. Tell them about the impact your programs have on your community, how they affect people. Invite them to free events so they can see it for themselves. Promote those plates in your materials and on social media. You know, all pretty simple things, but they add up, especially if you do them year-round, not just once a year. Now, I don't need to tell you that we're living in a pretty divided political time. If we want to sustain support for our sector in this hyper-polarized climate, we need to assert that the arts are a consensus issue, not a wedge issue. And happily, that's not hard, because the arts belong to all of us. Everyone wants our kids to do well in school. The arts help with that. We all want thriving main streets. The arts help with that. We all want our loved ones to be healthy. We want communities that can come together in the face of adversity. The arts help with all of it. And we want our stories and heritage preserved for future generations. So, thank you for all of the things you do to make these things come true in your community. Thanks for bringing some beauty and grace and joy into this world that sorely needs it. Thank you for having me on Team Tennessee. And with that, I will say farewell, and I'll let you get on with the rest of your program. Have a great Advocacy Day.
I'm Molly Pratt, and I am the Education Consultant for Tennesseans for the Arts. Thank you for joining us today. For more than 25 years, Tennesseans for the Arts has been hosting some form of an Arts Advocacy Day. Today's day, the focus was really on local matters. You may or may not remember that the past couple of years, each year we've had a statement that we've made. And in 2024, we said numbers matter. In 2025, we said connections matter. And this year, we said local matters. And I think it's really important when you think about the job that I do and the job that you all do, advocating for Tennesseans for the Arts. If you think about how all those three things play together. One, numbers do matter. The sale of specialty license plates is the main reason Tennesseans for the Arts exists. Those numbers matter. the 40-50-10 split, the proceeds from the sale of a new specialty license plate that ends up being attributed to the coffers of the Tennessee Arts Commission. The number of grants that helps fund. 80% of the Tennessee Arts Commission grant funding comes from the sale of specialty license plates. So numbers do matter. Connections matter too. How you connect with people in your communities, the people that are elected officials, whether that's a member of your local city council, your county commission, your county mayor, or if it's somebody at the state level, someone in the governor's office, someone that serves in the Tennessee General Assembly, your state legislator, your state senator, someone that is involved in your area of the state regionally, somebody that's a member of your local delegation, even if you might not live in their district. So those connections matter. And then finally, how all this works together, it comes together and it makes a difference. And that's where today's message came from, local matters. And what's really important about bringing this together is that it shows that whether it's one grant, a dozen grants, if it's an operating grant for a local arts group, nonprofit, or if it's an ABC grant coming through a designated agency for work in a community. All those things, when cobbled together, add to the vitality, add to the quality of life, add to lifting a particular community higher as it relates to education, as it relates to tourism, as it relates to economic development. It builds a picture, it adds to the flavor of all of those places across our state that people call home. And every place is a little bit different. Every grant's a little bit different. But when you bring all those together, when you blend all those together, what you have is an incredibly vibrant, creative, artistic, supportive community of people who are working hard every single day to make their place, where they live, where they work, where their children go to school, a better place. And so those stories you heard today are just two examples of how the arts are folding in and making huge differences to every citizen in every corner of every one of the 95 counties that make up the state that we love and call Tennessee, we call home. So thank you for being here today. I'm going to ask you to do one thing. I'm going to keep trying really, really hard to protect the specialty license plate program. I'm going to work to make sure that legislators understand how important the license plate program is to you. But I want you all to do something and let them know how important the license plate program is to your community and how many people those grant dollars touch. I also want you to think about getting a specialty plate if you don't have one, personalizing a specialty plate if you do have one, finding someone who doesn't have a specialty plate and asking them to get one the next time their car registration comes up, and then finally thinking about ways that you can connect with the people that are in watch parties today with you, and ways that you can think of continuing to come together to celebrate and to promote and to talk to your local officials and your community leaders and all of your citizens about how important the arts are.
For all of us that are in any version of the arts, right? It's so easy to want to get lost in what we feel are our losses or possibly our hurdles that we have to face. But it's not worth it. Whatever event you are hosting, whatever art showing you're doing, or musical you're doing, or a musician concert, 5 people, you could impact their lives to 500 people. So never give up on those things that may not turn out the exact way that you want them to do, because that local connection matters so much into your building momentum. And if 5 come one month, then the next month, 15 are going to come, or 20, or 100, or whatever, and it's going to continue to grow. We at Tennesseans for the Arts have wanted to continue to build that momentum. We want to help teach you how to advocate. We want to be there for you if you have questions. We want to be invited to your events. We want to know what you all are doing that we can help promote. If you can get your full board of your organization to be a specialty license plate owner and you can turn that information in, Tennesseans for the Arts has a badge that we will give to you that you can put on all of your promotions. You can show it in your lobby, you can show it at your board meetings, it can be on your letterhead, on your emails that says, my board, the people who are keeping us thriving, are full supporters of the arts. One of the great things too about being a member of Tennesseans for the Arts is we have a free event calendar. So if you have a free event to the public and you want to help promoting it, make sure you turn that information into us so that it hits our event calendar and that you'll see all of the other members of Tennesseans for the Arts are able to see that event and hopefully come and visit you. And the public will be able to come and see it and share those events on your social media, you know, through letters, through the newspaper, through radio ads, whatever it is that you market with. Know that you have this free event calendar that could be for you by simply joining Tennesseans for the Arts and letting us know about your free events. There are so many people in your audiences and coming to your galleries and your concerts that have no clue that they are supporting the arts by that. Get your board involved. Invite your board to all buy plates. Whatever plate they want to buy all ties in to the funding for the grants that we are getting. So do not give up on pushing that. Get a plate today if you don't have one. Talk about it in your curtain speeches. Put it in your programs. Get your board involved. Get your staff involved. Find your donors. See if they have plates, and if they have a plate, find a way to thank them. Thank them personally, thank them publicly, and just let them know how important it is to buy those specialty license plates and to continue that promotion. We can get a hold of anyone at Tennessee Arts Commission and we can get you flyers, you can get brochures about it, you can put stuff in your lobby. These are all excellent ways to start that forward momentum of keeping the sustainability of the arts in Tennessee thriving.